Pretty girl, let your insides heal. You abuse yourself and it's all you feel. I don't mind, we're just playing here. I'm gonna alert this time like fucking Paul Revere. Who's Paul Revere? The British are coming. The British are coming. The British are coming. This song was written by Tom DeLonge. I believe Tom DeLonge is trying to tell us something. I believe he has already given us every single hint that you and I need to know about aliens, and this is why. I found a hoodie that had clues on the back of it. Like, one of the clues I found on the back of the hoodie were circled letters that ended up spelling the word Euphoria, and Euphoria happens to be his #2 song on his brand new album. Also, the word secret happens to be located at the top of the shirt. Top secret? So in this video, I was able to find a card that leads us to Area 51. Now, the interesting thing is on that card, it says P. Anderson. Now, that takes us back to one of Tom DeLonge's books, which is written Poe Anderson. Stretched over 2 different albums, I've been finding clues that have reached back to the pyramids, talking Da Vinci, and even secret hidden government files. This is something you're gonna need to see to believe. You need to understand exactly what kind of mastermind we're dealing with here. So we're gonna go back and learn a little bit about Tom DeLonge, and then we're gonna come back to this point here and learn all about the craziness that we found in his video. The video has been created for entertainment purposes only. Nothing in this video should be taken as hard, concrete evidence, and everything is left up to your own interpretation.
What you say? You wanna play?
About the coming global. Yes.
Where you sit at?
Dude, I'm fucking ready, dude. So, oh shit, you want to get me started on UFOs?
But just that one story.
All right. Well, I have a friend that's been working to out like the secrecy of UFOs for like 10 years, and I met up with him on the East Coast, and I asked him what he was doing, wondering if there's anything I could do to help or whatever, and he spent 10 years filming like over 500 top secret witnesses that work for the government, and they all work for like, you know, everywhere from CIA to Lockheed Martin to Boeing Corporation to the Defense Intelligence Agency, the NSA, and the NRO. These are all like spy agencies and stuff, and all these people are talking and they're on camera because they understand that this videotape is what's going to get them to be able to testify in front of Congress.
Now, the reason that this portion is even important is because Tom is like 17 years old in this video, and he's already talking about something he made happen. He got those people in front of Congress.
It's crazy that the government is all of a sudden just sort of saying, yeah, the UFOs are real. You know, there's like, you know, all this, like the government acknowledging.
You know, we did that. I did that.
Wow.
That's why they're doing that.
So at 17, he already had this game plan of what was going on. Pretty cool.
I should take you in another room and show you my little collection of UFO books and videos. The testimonies of all the people on these tapes here. And all the people on those tapes comprise like, there's 136 hours of interviews of people testifying about their jobs that dealt with aliens in the military. My rad like books on secret architecture of our nation's capital. The whole thing's set up, it's all creepy. It's weird. So the underworld, it's all about the monuments and pyramids on Mars and the mathematical, geometrical shapes and see there's all these pyramids and stuff on Mars, and they make all these weird like angles and stuff, but those angles are the key to tetrahedral physics. And once you understand the science of that, that's the secret to space travel and time travel. And what's even more interesting, the big defense contractor that does all the UFO stuff, like for the military and the government, is in La Jolla. And out in front of their building, they have 2 8-foot-tall Egyptian statues, and one is holding a pyramid in his hand, and it says the past, and one's holding a pyramid in his hand, and it says the future. And they're big bronze statues in front of this company. I have people from the government talking about aliens. They're fucking real, you son of a bitch.
So here we have Tom DeLonge, just a 17-year-old punk rock skater kid talking some high-level Men in Black clearance stuff. And the interesting thing is this was borderline starting Angels Airwaves. He was in Blink-182. They were traveling around. He said in other interviews that he was reading books and absolutely fell in love, as you could see in his room, with the UFO phenomenon. Now, this ended up causing some issues in Blink along with some other stuff, and he split from Blink and went his own separate way. But the crazy thing is years later, he ended up going on, shows with Joe Rogan and Steve-O, but his story stayed consistent. And that is where things start to get a little goofy, because if you're goofing around, if you're lying, can your story stay the same after that many years? Listen up.
Yeah, because I studied UFOs for like 20 years, and I was like, I figured out what's going on. Not just like the bullshit you read or think. Like, I figured out what's going on, and I was like, shit, if I put this out there and open my big mouth, I might get in a lot of trouble. So I should probably go ask for some permission. So I spent like a long time working my way in, and then I got into a group of people, and they brought me in, and I was given all the permission. So then I come out with the book, and I go on national radio and all this shit. Well, apparently that group didn't really talk to another group of some other 3-letter places, and those other places got really fucking pissed, because here's this fucking rock star kid like telling the biggest national security secrets that we got, period. And so they came and they were like, we need to know who the fuck you are and who the fuck you're talking to, and all this crazy Ed Snowden type shit.
Wow.
And I was like, hold on. And I had to explain that, like, all this really classified crazy shit, I figured that out on my own.
So that's pretty cool. Tom basically just told you he was able to put together a destroyed puzzle essentially from knowledge that he gathered from books and other locations, and he put it together so tightly that he rubbed the feathers from upstairs and had to sit face to face with the government.
The last show I played was in front of 100,000 people. And then they wonder why I'm not doing that now, and I'll say because this is the one moment in my life where I'm going to be able to look back as an old man and say, oh my God, I was a part of the team that changed the world.
My name is Tom DeLonge. A lot of people know me from my band Blink-182. I started that band when I was 16. As an artist, I kind of conquered, in some respect, what I wanted to do with music. I couldn't believe where I got, and I was like, okay, well, this is a great time to try and do something else.
Back in 2014, I started To the Stars, a media company that would develop science fiction-based films, books, TV shows, comics, all of it. Kind of like a science fiction-based Disney, but for millennials. But I really wanted to make this new project more ambitious, more impactful, and to have it make a lasting impression on people's lives. I recognized that there were people in government that wanted to engage the public on topics that unfortunately had a stigma, even though they were based in scientific fact. At the time, there was no mechanism for them to do this. Through a series of meetings, I was soon connected to a large group of US government officials from the CIA, the Department of Defense, and Lockheed Martin Skunk Works. These guys were the ones involved in the secretive US government programs that dealt with these subjects. And they have all taken tremendous risks to themselves and their reputations to do something that can benefit the world. They wanted to be a part of something special, to be a part of a company that could not only change the way we see ourselves, but also change the path humanity is on. We created a company called To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science. As a team, we synergistically united our strengths into 3 cohesive divisions: aerospace, science, and entertainment. With the entertainment division, we create worlds, science fiction stories for millennials that inspire and transcend. We are a publisher, a merchandiser, and a production studio. We have stories about dreams, consciousness, the paranormal, UFOs, and many other themes that once used to be taboo, but after newly declassified government documents, are now proving to be absolutely real. We even have our own reality series launching this year on the History Channel, a weekly 1-hour series on our company and all that we do. In the aerospace division, we are paving the way to bring our science fiction stories to life, whether using beams of light to launch satellites, building a new generation propulsion by bending the fabric of space-time, commonly called anti-gravity, or even communicating through a new machine using quantum mechanics. For the first time, these opportunities are real and have the potential to completely revolutionize the way we live. In the science division, we are building the world's first and only artificial intelligence database of unexplained events, deploying data collection teams internationally, and analyzing exotic materials originating from unidentified aerial phenomena. And here, for the first time in history, this group of spies, aerospace engineers, and secretive government officials have chosen to team up with an award-winning producer to change the status quo. We want to do something more than just tell a story this time. We want to be in the story and then bring it all to life. Educating the world, creating revolutionary technology and telling the story of the millennium and doing it all together. There's nothing bigger. To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science is where science fiction becomes reality. I wanted to make a quick message to let you know that from the heart, I left my band and all that I was known for because this is the moment in time where I can change the world for my kids and everybody else's.
If any of this story is true, the balls on that dude give up Blink 182 and attempt to do something that has never, ever been done.
On July 5th, 2016, DeLonge posted a statement on Facebook with a picture of the gates at Area 51. In it, he describes meeting an unnamed general in his 60s who told him that during the Cold War, we found a life form. DeLonge told the general he needed help getting this story out to young adults. So the general helped him assemble a team of advisors, just as he told Podesta McCaslin had done. DeLonge writes, quote, I was given 10 advisors, each with knowledge in different areas that pertain to UFOs and the very real national security issues associated with them.
The DNC emails show irrefutably that Tom DeLonge was telling the truth when he said that he was in communication with generals. General Neil McCaslin, General Michael Carey, Robert Weiss of Skunk Works, Lockheed Martin, John Podesta, and other senior officers in Space Command, Central Intelligence Agency, and different sections of the US military were giving this punk rock star briefings, talking to him about what they knew.
Early this year, I set out to do something pretty challenging. I wanted to shift perception on an extraordinary topic that had already over 70 years of research, opinion, and frankly, quite effective disinformation. I had the rare opportunity to present my ideas to an executive with the Department of Defense who worked in special access programs in an area called Watertown, also known as Area 51. That meeting led to multiple clandestine encounters across the United States, from desert airports to vacant buildings deep within Washington, D.C. From these exchanges, I learned three things. One, there are certain things that should never have been secret. Two, there are secrets that were justifiable at the time but should now be disclosed. And three, there are things that are so unimaginable that certain interests believe that they should never, ever be made public. After this, you might even agree.
So at this point, Joe Rogan is about to ask the question that all of us are already thinking. So
why you? Like, why? What is it about what your message was?
Because
what your idea was that made them want to tell you some top secret shit that they've tried to keep away from the American people. I mean, you take a guy who's like a big celebrity who's in a huge rock band like you, and you just say, hey, meet me in an airport. I'm going to tell you about a life form that we found during the Cold War because you're famous or because you know things.
Communication. They don't have a way to make a movie, a book. They don't know how. Don't have a way to make documentaries. They don't have a way to go on a big show like this and communicate with young people. They don't do that, and nor should they.
So the government might not make movies. The government might not make music, and well, they might make some books, but not ones you and I want to read. So when it comes down to it, he's the perfect spokesperson because he knows the knowledge. And the government can't come out and tell us this stuff because there's a chance it could break religion. There's a chance it could destroy homes. It could cause complete mayhem. It needs to be only shown to the people who are specifically looking. And that's what you and I are doing.
Perhaps one of the more shocking revelations from the Podesta emails is his involvement with rock star Tom DeLonge, who is seeking to expose a vast UFO cover-up within the government. DeLonge, the former frontman for the band Blink 182 and currently for the band Angels Airwaves, says he based his recent fiction book, Secret Machines, Book 1, Chasing Shadows, on information fed to him by government insiders. The book is about the government's decade-long project to back engineer alien technology and hide it from the public. According to Rolling Stone, DeLonge claims he was approved to say he used, quote, sources within the aerospace industry and the Department of Defense and NASA.
Tell me how you got involved in it.
Sure. Well, it's kind of an unusual answer, I think. A rock star called me up one day by the name of Tom DeLonge.
We have guided Congress with getting all the data, all the briefings, and all the people in various parts of the government to brief the senators and congressmen. We did all that. It actually leaked a handful of weeks ago when you saw these articles in the New York Times and whatever where it said the Navy is creating formal mechanisms for reporting UFOs, that was us. That was To the Stars Academy. That was our show. It's on the show. It's really just following around what we do at To the Stars Academy. We deal with the U.S. government every single day.
New reports, 5 pilots coming forward over the weekend saying they've had multiple mid-air encounters with high-flying, fast-moving objects.
The New York Times speaking with 5 Navy pilots who've all said they've encountered UFOs during training missions up and down the East Coast.
So Tom is definitely doing the right thing. He's pushing forward. He's got his foot in the door talking with Steve-O and Joe Rogan and even contacting people like Christopher Mellon. But no great story would be perfect without a twist.
I was introduced to the late Dr. Wernher von Braun in the U.S., the father of rocketry. He said, you will find there is going to be a spin to find some enemy against whom we have to build space-based weapons.
There's a group of people who control this issue that are trying to sort of agent provocateur, to provoke an interplanetary incident. So the next war, World War III, will be interplanetary. And there is a serious group of nut jobs, and they have to be put on a leash and stood down fast and quickly. And the trigger, when Unacknowledged hit hundreds of millions of people seeing it, this group started releasing stuff to the CNN and Washington Post and New York Times under cover of a group that from a boy that I used to teach on this named Tom DeLonge, the Blink-182 guy.
Oh yeah, he's huge on the
okay. But what happened is that his interest got hijacked by militarists whose every bit of information they're putting out has to spin, it's a threat to the national security, our sovereignty has been invaded.
Do you feel, based off of your experience and the information that you've been privy to, that these UAPs provide an existential threat to the national security of the United States? Mr. Graves?
Potentially.
Yes, sir, potentially.
Same answer, potentially.
Yeah, I'd say definitely, potentially.
It's the kind of brainwashing that's already started to try to convince the public there is an alien threat. You know, Wernher von Braun, who invented the rocket for Adolf Hitler, on his deathbed, he said to a member of my team who is his right-hand assistant and spokesperson for the last few years of his life, said, they're going to hoax an alien threat, I'm quoting, and it's all a lie.
And then he would repeat to me, the last card would be the extraterrestrial threat. And I will testify before the Congress under oath about everything I have said and more.
We have got to intercept this plan and stop it. Or if you think 9/11 and the Iraq War was a clusterfuck, this is going to be that 1,000 times worse.
Plot twist! Here you have Stephen Greer, a ufologist who has dedicated his entire life to ufology, and also he taught Tom DeLonge, telling us that Tom's been hijacked by the U.S. government and being used as a pawn, and now trying to start an interplanetary war that apparently is going to be false? I don't know what to even think of all of this, but I do know that Tom DeLonge's statements are starting to come true. Listen to this.
A few weeks after that, I was made aware that Lou had left the Pentagon in protest and joined forces with Tom DeLonge, Chris Mellon, Steve Justice, and others to form To the Stars Academy, an organization that pressed the issue with leading industry experts and U.S. government officials. They worked with Leslie Kean, who is present today, Rob Blumenthal, and Helene Cooper to publish the articles in the New York Times 2017 New York Times. And it removed the stigma on the topic of UFOs, which is why we're here today.
So as you can see right there, Tom's ready and able to already start giving us information, but now he has to walk a thin line on how much he can possibly give.
When he said that he was in communication with generals, General Neil McCasland, General Michael Carey, Robert Weiss of Skunk Works, Lockheed Martin, John Podesta, and other senior officers in Space Command, the Central Intelligence Agency, and different sections of the US military were giving this punk rock star briefings, talking to him about what they knew. What I find fascinating is journalists look for evidence. You look for corroborative evidence. And so I'd listened to Tom, and like everybody else, I'd giggled. I thought, this guy's completely bananas. You know, there was one particular coast-to-coast interview where I just thought he'd gone nuts. And then I remember feeling very humbled and quite ashamed of myself when I realized, oh my God, and I'm going through the DNC emails and going, hell's bells, if he was telling the truth about this, could it be he was telling the truth about the general when the general said, It was the Cold War, and we found a life form. Could it be possibly true that the general did say that to him? And if he didn't, why would Tom lie about that? You know, why hasn't Hillary Clinton been asked questions about this? Why was she clearly, there were plans underway, and this is evidenced by these emails. There were plans underway by John Podesta in conjunction with certain generals in the US military, former and serving. There was going to be some kind of disclosure in 2017.
So maybe Ross was right, and apparently 2017 was supposed to have a disclosure happen, but maybe the WikiLeaks rerouted the timeline? I don't know, because Hillary lost to Trump in that time period, and I mean, even The Simpsons predicted that. So what could it have possibly have been? Because the events are still taking place to this day, and currently it's 2024, but everything Tom has said so far seems to be ringing true. Listen.
They understand that this videotape is what's going to get them to be able to testify in front of Congress.
You know, the Pentagon's mentioning my video, Tom's videos are UFOs and UFOs are real. Navy, the Department of Defense, everyone's like, wait, he's not crazy? And I'm like, that's why I didn't care that you guys were calling me crazy, because I'm privy to shit you're not. I know what's coming. I know what is happening, and this is just the beginning.
As if all of that isn't crazy enough, Tom DeLonge gets awarded 2017's Researcher of the Year, and that sparked him to create this little interview right here that I think is really going to tie everything together that I'm about to be talking about. So listen up.
I'm Tom DeLonge, and I want to say thank you for acknowledging some of the hard work I've been putting into some subject matter that concerns us all and that you're passionate about just like I. It's been a crazy whirlwind of a year or two. There's a lot that I can't say, but there's some that I can. And I'm so appreciative that I've been acknowledged for this stuff, but I'm not done. I'm just like you guys. I've spent 20 years up all night reading about Roswell, Dulce, Serpo, Churchill, the crashes here, Nazis building craft there, and Antarctica, and what's on Mars, and what's on the back of the moon, and structures and anomalous this, and I mean, I've done it all. I know it all. I read all the same authors as you guys, hundreds of books. I look at all the same sites. I listen to all the coast-to-coast stuff that you guys do. I'm the same. But I kind of used some of my notoriety to try and do something pretty ambitious, and it worked. I came out and told you guys about a book I was writing called Secret Machines, and I said a bunch of stuff that I was working with some people. Well, I think a lot of people doubted it, and they thought it was crazy that this musician would have this kind of access. And then the WikiLeaks thing happened, and I think you guys saw that I'm into some serious shit, and I'm making really good progress. I can't tell you what I'm about to announce. If you look at my social media, at least on my Instagram, you'll see that I said there's going to be an announcement in like within the next 60-ish days. I want you all to know in the UFO community that, you know, whoever's passionate about this kind of paradigm shifting subject matter, I need you all to look really, really closely at that announcement, and I need you to be a part of it, because what that announcement is about is so much more than it will look like on the surface, and I need you guys to come along for the ride. You have to be a part of it, and you'll see what that means when the announcement comes out. But I want you, as an educated group of people, to read between the lines and look at the history of what I've been doing over the past couple years and get a sense for what the hell I'm getting ready to do. If you guys come along for the ride, it's going to be pretty fantastic. I'll leave you with one thing. My job has only just begun on this subject matter, and there's some big shit planned, and I'm excited about it. Just remember that whatever happens in the civilian world it's game on. Okay?
How many of you just read between the lines? Game on, baby. Let's do it. One of the things I noticed throughout the course of creating this entire video was the White Rabbit. For those of you who might know Blink, you might have seen the White Rabbit logo pop up a time or two, but it has never been confirmed about what this rabbit truly means when it comes to Blink's logos, because as we know, that's Blink's logo. So where did the rabbit come into play? You see, I started seeing this more and more as I went down the rabbit hole, no pun intended. As I looked into what the White Rabbit meant, I started to see this. But the story didn't stop there. I then started noticing things such as like The Matrix, where they talk about the rabbit hole and follow the White Rabbit. And then also that led me into Lewis Carroll's Through the Looking Glass, or Alice in Wonderland's White Rabbit as well. And I started to wonder, was there a connection? I'm gonna give you the option right now. If you continue forward in my videos, you're never gonna be able to look at a video ever again the same way. The choice is yours. You can stay in sleepaway camp, or you can travel down the rabbit hole. If you want to travel down the rabbit hole, go to my next video. If you don't, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I piqued your interest. I will see you soon, maybe.
The reason I like conspiracies is it's a treasure hunt to figure out what's really going on. You get little pieces of information, you know, you try and assemble it. You know, there's all these things that I'll do that no one knows, but I was out to prove something to myself. I was out to prove something, I think probably to the world, that I was capable of something.